Hello, Internet, and welcome to another episode of the Sliced Diced Podcast with your hosts, Matt
and David.
And welcome to episode 2. Top 10 board game channels? Our personal top 10?
Well, yeah, I guess it's our personal top 10 board game channels. As of probably just on the YouTube platform. Not really looking at other platforms because there's quite a few out there.
Sorry, Spotify.
Just reminded me of one I should have thought about. Oops. Now that I've said that, maybe I'll cover that and talk about that later. Just realised. Anyway,
yes, as you can see, the shades are off. The blades are away. We aren't slicing anything up today. This is a wholesome podcast. You can see us.
Yeah.
In a wholesome attire. I even got my comfy socks on.
Careful, mate.
Hey, they can't smell it.
We're the Beanie Boys today.
And I don't know about you, David, but these days I would consider myself a board game enthusiast, for sure. Love playing board games, but I'm not the biggest consumer of board game content. And I was first introduced to board game content by yourself.
Was it?
Back in about 2017, but didn't really get too much into it until 2018.
Okay.
Things have changed since then. I went on set, worked on films, dropped off the face of the earth, and now your usuals, your big boys of back then, and everything's changed, and I've come back to the scene now, and there's a lot of fresh faces about.
New contenders,
new
names, new faces, and probably a slight meta change, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's definitely evolved.
Yeah, it's an evolving thing, and that's a really good thing, I think. You used to tell me that the boom hasn't come yet for board gaming, so
I don't think it has. If you look at the top subbed channels and stuff, they're not very big in the grand scheme of things. And if you look at the data from sales of board games, it's getting bigger and bigger each year, exponentially. So there's getting more wide mainstream appeal. I think we're definitely in that start of that, S curve. We might even be midway into it, but I think there's a lot of growth to go.
Get on board,
Not
people.
for us though, old 2 subscriber Jimmy over here.
Climb aboard. It's time. The B train's coming.
Yeah.
So we're doing a top 10. I am looking at a list of about 35. Where I put together a list of about 35.
Sheesh.
Just to give us a sort of that's kind of the pool we're looking at, and that's kind of what we've scooped off the top. And I think now that I pointed out that we're doing YouTube channels, let's say that that's what we're looking at. But there is actually a few other platforms out there that should be also really invaluable resources when it comes to getting up to speed on what's happening in the board game world.
Well, you did make me do my homework only on the YouTube platform, so I will hold you to that.
Yeah, there you go.
And do you want to, since you're the mastermind of this one, I would say you're the one with your ear to the ground?
Yeah.
Nose to the ground?
Well, there was a time when I just couldn't get enough. I had to watch. I just had to get up to speed with a lot of the big boys out there and figure out what the scene was. Buy all the board games that they told me to buy, and then now I'm selling the ones that I don't like and trying to create the perfect collection. But yeah, shall we start off with some numbers? Shall we kick it off?
I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly how much into detail you are going, but I like shorter form, just bang them out content, so I want to help you, the viewer, generate the ADHD levels of attention that I have. So I'm going to be short and sweet. I'm not going to ramble on. I'll leave that for you to, dig through the weeds if you want.
Well, yeah, we'll see if I even have information for weeds.
And I assume we're going to have a few in common. If we do, I'd say whoever brings them up first, if they have more to say about it, whoever brings them up second, let's just save our viewers droning on about the same thing, and maybe just add to stuff maybe they've missed, or specific things that you like over me or whatever. But let's
sure, that's a fair call. I like that.
Let's keep this under an hour, right?
Yeah. Okay. So let's kick it off with my top 10. Let's go from 10 down to 1.
Cool.
And these are all I've sort of, just to give you my kind of criteria, I guess, or something, I've kind of gone with the ones that I watch, and within that I've kind of picked the best from each kind of genre of board game channel out there, because it's something I came across as I was studying them. I was like, flip, there's actually a sort of genre of channel as well.
That's a new podcast right there.
Yeah.
Different genres of board game channels.
Yeah, so
we're going to the niche of the niche.
Yeah, you can make lists of the different ones, because there's quite a bunch out there now, and you can start categorizing them. But yeah, my number 10 is 3-minute board games. Kiwi channel.
Fellow Kiwi.
Yes, Jared. I always thought he lived. I thought he lived in Wellington, but I was doing some quick research and I couldn't find anything. But do you know if he lives in Wellington or is he Auckland based? I can't tell.
I don't know.
Okay.
I do believe we went to a convention and he was there though. In Wellington. So
yeah, either he loves board games so much.
Not to dox ourselves or anything, but I send the SWAT teams, boys.
Yeah, send the SWAT team. Seen him in Wellington, so always assumed that he lived here, but he might just be such a freak for games that he comes down to Wellington. I like it because he's...
There's no shame in that.
There's no shame. Yeah, there's a shame-free zone. What I love about his channel is that it's bite-sized. He boils down a game or a concept into 3 minutes, as his title suggests, and it's very tidy, it's very quick, and it's somewhat fussy. I think he's a bit of a fussy guy. It comes across part of his personality, but that's what I love about channels. Everyone's got their, hopefully brings a bit of personality to the channel, and his fussiness. Format's fun. It's clean and logical, I guess. He's very logical and it's very distilled. That's what I love about the channel. You would probably be aware of his work.
He's definitely on my list, so I will say that.
All right. Possible definite crossover at some point.
Yeah.
So that's me for 10. Yeah.
Nice. Starting things off.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. And continuing on with the short and sweet, I'm going to one up you here, David. You say 3-minute board games. I'm saying board games in a minute.
Oh.
Now, Sarah of Board Games in a Minute, as of this recording, has 5,000 subs on YouTube. So she's I don't know, I'd say that's a medium-sized board game channel.
It's not bad. It's really good.
And she is growing. She also, a lot of the stuff that I like of hers, which are her 1 minute, sometimes a minute and a half, naughty Sarah, clips is that, they're short, succinct, gives you an overview of the game or a specific thing that she likes in the game. Lately she's been doing like promos for Kickstarters or expansions for games coming out. I'm guessing the companies have come to her and been like, hey, can you do like a 1 minute overview of this? Or that's what it seems like to me. And it's a really good, short, succinct, quick, cool way of doing that for someone with ADHD attention span like me that's been, boiled down and I can't sit still for longer than 10 minutes. So I enjoy her channel. And her fast delivery content. She also does do some longer form videos and some streams. I haven't watched nearly as many as those as her short form content, but it gives you a little glimpse into her personality, character. I don't know, form a parasocial bond with these long form content creations. So that's what we're trying to do here. We want you to care about us, and you're sucked in, and you give us that watch time. We're really struggling here.
Are we struggling? She was on my... I used to watch a bit of her stuff, but for some reason she slipped off. I don't know. The algorithm has dumped her from my...
You're just not subbed.
Yeah.
She didn't earn a sub.
I didn't used to sub. That's the thing. I've only started subbing this year. How weird is that?
That is...
But I found that subbing's good, so I'm into that now. What was actually a question I was going to ask you? Do you sub on YouTube?
I subscribe to a lot on YouTube.
Oh, really?
And there are some channels, not board game related, but just like YouTube related, that post just so much that I don't sub to them, but I want to see like one video from them every now and again. So I will actually like go to their channel. Usually they're popular or good, like high quality stuff pops up in my recommended. So I'll see it anyway. But because they just produce so many, like sometimes like 4 or 5 videos a day, Like, there's no way I'm interested in watching all those or have the freaking time. Like, I got a job.
Yeah.
I got a kid.
Yeah.
I got other stuff I need to deal with.
Yeah. It's a few. It's a bit of a jungle, really, and yeah, to get order to what is YouTube is kind of weird.
Yeah, but YouTube tangents aside, I think we should get back on track to board games.
My number 9. How about that? My number 9 is my normally special Dicebreaker.
Oh, Dicebreaker.
Dicebreaker. Matt, Michael, and Alex.
I think they got a few more members than that.
That's the core 3, so I'm just like shouting them out here.
Yeah, the rest of you nobodies. No.
Very clean, and entertaining. Design is almost above anything on these guys when it comes.
Epic name.
Compared to other channels, I would say that they lead the way in like very respectable design and channel creation there. There's a couple of channels that do this sort of thing. They're kind of drinking D&D channels. This is sort of falls into that category. But yeah, just really good vibe, and something that you wouldn't be embarrassed to show to your cool friends, and get them involved in board games.
That's always a positive.
Because that's the thing. That's the thing. The nerdiness of what is board games is a thing.
All right, number 9, eh?
Yeah.
I think this is one you're not going to know, or I hope you don't know, because it's pretty niche. Father of Games. And at the time of this, he has 103 subs. I am his 103rd sub.
Oh, that's cool.
He does board game reviews, or has just started, and unboxings, and like shows off the components of board games. And the cutest thing and the most wholesome thing about it is he unboxes them with his young daughter. So I have a personal bias there that I can't wait for my offspring to grow up a little bit so that they won't choke to death on board game pieces and we can enjoy this hobby together. But yeah, for me that sucked me in. Yep. And I actually like his takes on videos that he's done. He released an Ankh roast around the same time we did. So and he had all the expansions as well. So I felt justified in my takes on that. So Father of Games, everyone. You heard it here first. 100 subs. This is some hipster level deepness.
Does his kid get involved in the channel, or is it too young, or what?
She's a bit young. She helps with the unboxing and yells and pops the mic, which is super cute.
Yeah. But it's a very family friendly kind of.
I have like a few family channels that I'm not sub to, but I'll check out here and there. But this is the only one that's made my top 10 list for now. Nice. We'd have to go into a top 50 if we wanted to get everyone. And now I feel sad for this. Is supposed to be wholesome talk. I'm not meant to put anyone down, but 10 is such a small list, you know.
Yeah. 10, 10's nice. 10's just, everyone loves the top 10. That's why we're doing it. It's catchy. It's
meta.
It's very YouTube friendly. You're gonna hate me for my number 8. My number 8 is Man vs. Meeple, and
there's no hate here, David.
Jeremy, David, and Ryan are the key players in this. Jeremy, I believe, has left, gone on to do other things. Didn't catch the farewell party, but what I like about these is these guys they've taken board gaming and pushed it into more of like the lounge approach to podcasting, where everyone's comfortable, they're sitting around in a lounge sort of setting and talking about board games, and it's very welcoming, easy to get into, and they're kind of the commercial sort of access review kind of site that I go to for big flashy games that I want to get the scoop on before I buy it, kind of deal. Great lighting, very
good,
very structured,
good production value.
Yeah, but you were saying that you didn't think it would be on my top 10.
I did not think it would be in your top 10. I know, honourable mention at least, but I didn't think it would be. It's just a very friendly, open. They don't seem to be they're
fully sort of access media vibe, but in a very nice and open way, and they're not hiding any of that. They're just like, yeah, this is a paid preview or whatever. And yeah, they get in there.
Quality content.
Yeah. My number 8, Man vs. Meeple.
Man vs. Meeple.
Yeah.
Well, my number 8 is a YouTuber by the name of Jesse Ross. And at the time of this, he has 2.8k subs.
Whoa.
So not as not as OG. I'm not as OG sub as 100 subs, but Jesse, are you aware of Jesse?
I'm not aware of Jesse, man.
Well, Jesse hasn't made a video in about 11 months.
Guy right here.
He hasn't made a video in about 11 months, but his videos are vlogs about his board game development.
Nice.
At least I hope he's still developing the game. And I hope to one day back him on Kickstarter because I've thoroughly enjoyed his content. But yeah, he does vlogs about him developing his games, what games inspired him. It's like he fits in other unboxings and reviews and kind of stuff with that. But he's a very he has that YouTuber feel to him. Like he has good backing music. He has interesting shots and angles, and he goes and does his daily life, walks his dog, drives to the park, does your vloggy stuff, all fit around his board game design.
Nice.
So yeah, I've enjoyed his content, and I hope he continues to make content because he's dropped off the radar for a bit. But yeah, Jesse Ross, everyone.
Yeah, I dig that. Yeah, there's been a little bit of a trend of people getting out in nature.
Parks, right? Parks.
Getting out in parks and talking about board games. It's a little bit jarring sometimes when you go to a board game channel and suddenly they're outside, but yeah, it's refreshing.
They're not burning up in the sunlight? What the... What's going
on? My number 7 is, I think, a very special board game channel. It's called Geek Nights. It's Rim and Scott, and for me, these guys are just big brain. This is just probably inspired me to suggest that we do a channel or something. It's these guys. And in a way,
the inspo way.
Yeah, these guys are kind of quite inspirational. They really dig into the mechanics of a game, and then how the psychology is behind the mechanics of the game. And they've gone to conventions and done talks and stuff like that. And I find I love their channel. It's like a mile a minute. I listen to it almost double speed anyway. So it's they're good at the macro and the micro of board gaming. And they're just kind of running ahead of the pack, kind of like the Skaven. They're like rats, just running and finding the way, like little scouts, kind of figuring stuff out. And they have quite a content that's connected to the rest of the world, not just board gaming, which I find is interesting. Yeah. Number 7, Geek Nights.
Geek Nights, eh?
Yeah.
Well, my number 7, and I don't know if this is cheating or official, but is IV Games or IV Studios. Is this allowed?
No, yeah, definitely.
This is fun. I mean, they are a company.
Yeah.
But they are a board game channel, and they do release content every week.
Oh, definitely.
And I thoroughly enjoy it because they show behind the scenes of things. They do all their release of things. They do playthroughs. They have high production value, and just Austin, who I think is the business owner, sitting on his computer doing a live stream of being this is why I backed this Kickstarter, blah 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 blah, and it's very informative and good infotainment for someone like myself who is potentially interested in doing a Kickstarter and developing games. So it's good to have that input from an insider, and also their channel just has super high production value on their playthroughs and their previews of their games, and they have absolute bangers of games. But let's not talk about games here, we're just talking about board game channels, right? So IV Games is the name of the channel.
They make some beautiful games.
The Incredible. Kickstarter breakdowns are I think the series is called Backed,
right?
At least I've written that in my notes, so check it out, everyone.
Yeah, we have a couple of their games, really tidy
and at the time of this they have about 2,000 subs from my notes, so
there you go. My number 6 is Shelfside.
Oh.
It's Aston and Daniel, the guys that run this, predominantly Aston. And they just do entertainment and board game meta so well. Their format's quite standard, like a lot of people kind of do what they do, but they're so well researched and they spend weeks making their videos.
Yeah, and they have great personality on camera.
Yeah, great. Yeah. They're very...
Not saying everyone else doesn't, but like they're very like YouTuber-y, know what they're doing to do the algorithm or do like your standard YouTuber thumbnails and everything.
Another thing I like about them is that they're not very commercial, as in they're not trying to sell games. They're not in someone's pocket.
They say it how it is.
Yeah.
They're like what we want to be. Like they will roast the crap out of a board game they didn't enjoy, but has been praised by the masses, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just refreshing. A new channel, new kid on the block, but I think they're doing really, really well, and the channel's exploding. I think. Yeah. Standard format done well. Shelf side. Ooh,
number 6. That's low for them, isn't it? Oh.
Well, hey.
Well, number 6 for me is and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Tim, but Tim Chuan or Tim Chuang. Formerly of Board Game B-Roll. That's what his channel used to be called about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. He, at the moment of recording, has 16k subscriptions, and I consider myself one of them. He has the best cinematography in the board gaming space. It's absolutely incredible. It's inspiring.
Sharp.
It's like exactly what the board game space needs to kind of like up their game to the next level. His cinematography, his B-roll, his thumbnails, everything, his cool little friggin' lightsaber lights that he does, and his cool little shorts he does. Everything just makes me like, man, I want to quit my job and like learn how to do that.
Looking into that, he's before he did board games,
he was a photographer.
He's doing photography channel that was not really going anywhere, and he switched to board games.
Yeah,
and just blew up because he brought that.
And he has a very infectious enthusiasm on camera as well, which just makes him. And his videos are quite short in the board game space, like they're like between 8 and 20 minutes kind of thing. So, again, with my no attention span. Like that's a perfect amount of time to get kind of in depth into something for me without me getting too bored. And with his pretty visuals, I'm like, ooh, kid in the candy store. He definitely makes me think about behind the camera, what to do, how to shoot something, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and I haven't really put too much thought into that before.
Yeah, he's a class act when it comes to.
So yeah, this is zero effort, single camera podcast. Okay, we will get into some more high quality stuff. Just give us
big promises from Matt.
Let's say 100 subs. We'll start doing some YouTube shorts, eh?
Yeah, they're actually not bad, but they have weird. I'm talking about shorts.
Yeah,
they have fake. A lot of them have fake thumbnails. Have you noticed that? You click on them and it's nothing about what the short was. I'm like, what's going on here?
Anyway, Tim Chuang.
Yeah,
for number 6 for me.
Very, very nice. My number 5 is my Kickstarter pick, which is Board Game Co. Alex. He's just always pumping out content on what's coming up. I love how he kind of agonizes over the value of you backing it or not and tries to give you options, and just he's really amongst it, and so he's kind of my go-to when I'm trying to see what's up.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and he does quite a few quite good unboxing and playthroughs for new games that have come out, which I find is quite a good way to learn a game before you've read the rules, kind of deal, is to watch someone do like a first time playthrough, because they're kind of discovering it at the same time as you, and it kind of can take the edge off learning the rules if you're going to pick up a game and teach it.
Nice. So I'm aware of, but not subscribed myself.
Hey,
maybe I'll have to get amongst. Number 5.
5.
For me, number 5 is Quackalope.
Wow. What's Dave going to say about that?
Currently with 40,000 subscribers.
So he's a buddy of Alex. Him and Alex,
yeah. Jesse, right?
Yeah, Jesse.
Jesse. I really like Jesse's content. He has a wide variety of board game content, not only just like playthroughs or unboxings or this Kickstarter coming up. He also just like does sit down in front of the camera and talks about the board game industry, things on his mind, things that are annoying him or that he likes. He's very seems like an awesome person in the space because he's very like reaches out to new developers and wants them to get on and like show off their stuff, and so warm and welcoming and like such a great person in the community.
Yeah, that's huge. I've seen a lot of new games just through him that I wouldn't have picked up anywhere else through any other channel.
Yeah, and he's been at it for a while now, and so he's like, I don't know, it must be like his full-time gig because he's the way he pumps out content and like collaborating with everything, it must be. But definitely, I'm sure most of you will have seen him because he's always, I don't know, for me he's always in the recommended videos whenever you watch anything board game. And
because he reaches out to the new designers and stuff, new board game designers, they often quite feature him somehow in their games. There's a Quackalope
things, great, which is a cool motif, a really good idea.
He has a mate who's Spanish, who does the Spanish version of the channel. American version of the South American version of the channel, which I think is
Puerto Rican.
Is he Puerto Rican? Okay,
but well, speak Spanish.
But that's such a cool concept to have that.
Dual language, multi-language.
And then their
board
content
game
just
space
feeds into each
evolving.
Other. Yeah, nice. Was number 5, so up to number 4.
Yep.
So these are the big 4, right? So I've got shut up and sit down. Stop looking at my notes.
Classic.
Paul, Quinns, and Matt, right?
I'm glad you put them in your top 10.
Yeah, number 4. High production and comedic value. For me, they had this dude called Paul on their channel who brought this really weird edge to the channel that for me like was a huge part of their growth. And when he left, there was a big hole in the channel that's never quite been filled, which is something that happens. I think it happens. I've seen it to a few channels. But yeah, with Matt, who's just some sort of videographer guru, Matt Leacock or something. He sort of revolutionized how to make reviewing board games fun. Like I'm pretty sure he must have been the dude that came up with the idea of being under the table with your face popping up with the game in front of you so that your face is in the camera and the board game in its best light is in the camera. Like no one was really doing anything like that. He changed the cinematography of board game channels really, which is amazing. And then Quinns has just got some sort of star factor. I don't know. He just has huge X factor that just makes you want to watch his stuff. Like he's a personality.
Well, they've been at it for a while. They've got that.
He came from board game, computer game reviews. Like he reviewed games and stuff, and came into the board game world when it was before it took off. And now they're just like sitting on top of the whole pack, basically. Loved when I first discovered them. I basically went back and watched their whole catalog for years, like everything they ever put out, especially with Paul in it, because it was always had this really weird angle which was a really cool flavor to have in board gaming. They've got a bunch of interns or hirelings now, who are just kind of
underlings.
They're kind of like mini-me's more than personalities, which I find frustrating personally, because they're just basically carbon copies of the big two. In my opinion, I guess. And I'd like to see like a new dimension come in with whoever they brought in to sort of expand the channel. Not someone who's just like mimicking the whole thing. I have to mention like this channel is probably the father of No Pun Included. Watching their stuff, they feel like they are sort of a carbon copy of this channel somewhat, and they do a very good job, and I respect what they do. But for me, I'm already getting it from
the big boys.
The big boys, but in saying that, no pun included, is covering stuff that these guys are not doing with very high level of professionalism. So respect to them as well. But for me, it's shut up and sit down. They run conventions now and stuff like this. It's nuts. But they probably ignited the passion for me the most out of anything that I came across. Just what quality content really. Like the videos are just funny. Like they're very clever, British humour, dry wit.
And they're only number 4.
Only number 4.
Jeez.
Can only go up from here.
Who's at the top?
Yeah. So number 4.
Shut up and sit down. I'll just tag on to the end here, so I don't need to talk about them at the end. They're in my honourable mentions because when I did start watching in the space, they were probably the main channel, like them and Dice Tower, in 2017, 2018, that I watched. But now I don't watch them at all, and I don't. It's more a me thing than them. They didn't do anything. It's just me not.
I'm thinking that
attention,
it's Paul not there, making it quirky, maybe.
Maybe.
Just the theory.
So number 4, here's the first crossover of the night.
Ooh.
3-minute board games.
Boom.
Back into my ADHD
Tight.
land. I mean, not too much to add from what you said. Obviously, fellow Kiwi, so he's got to have some points there. Good length, and everything's just short, sharp, and succinct. And to me, that's just that's the perfect. I hate rambling on like this. I feel like a dullard. But if you can get a 10 minutes of information, or even times 30 minutes of information into a short quip, 3 minutes, while adding jokes in there and stuff as well.
Yeah,
that's just awesome. That's
clever.
That's what YouTube was made for, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I also love his taste in board games. Another thing, the stuff that he covers is a lot of stuff that I'm interested in as well.
Yeah.
So
he does a very wide range, I think, as well.
Yeah.
That's number 4, and he's currently sitting at 63 subscribers, and I believe he recently had a child.
Oh,
and
I think I heard that. Yeah.
He's a stay-at-home dad,
making it happen.
Hopefully, getting some more content out.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah. Nice stuff.
Number 3, who you got?
Respect. Number 3, I have Space Cats and Peace Turtles.
Oh, classic.
Boom, Hunter and Matt. Comedy gold right there. Now, these guys just have a channel dedicated to just a single game, which I think is amazing, and I just wish more people would do this.
It's very impressive.
I just love it. Through this channel, they've built up a semi-professional board game scene for one game. They
bootstrapped it.
They run tournaments, and they have commentators. They also have umpire connections. They have people that are just complete boffins on the rules for this game that they implicitly trust, and then they also have connections to the guy who designed the 4th edition of this game, so they can get super grey area rulings on anything in the game, night or day. They can send off a message to this dude and he'll probably get back to them. Which is really, really cool. Could benefit from a camera crew, because they cover these games, they have commentators, but it's just and they do a lot of these games on Tabletop Simulator. And if you had one good camera guy just running that whole thing, making it dynamic through these long games, that would be, I think, just push this into another whole space. Yeah,
I think that's where they lose me, is just the length of thing. It's I just, at this stage of my life, don't have the time to sit any time, not at the moment with a kid, but love to play a 12-hour game of Twilight Imperium. Don't have an inkling in my body to watch other people play without being involved. But great channel name, great idea, and you cannot be anything but impressed of how much they've bootstrapped that community and made an entire pro league and everything. Well done.
Yeah, and very inclusive. I consider them the Chaos Knights of board gaming.
Chaos Knights.
The whole thing's loose, but it's working, and they've got something there. And
loosey goosey. I like the loosey goosey energy.
How would you? How they just need to find how to take it to the next level, I think. So yeah, number 3 for me, Space Cats and Peace Turtles.
Highlights.
Yeah.
Highlights of games.
Yeah, a crew dedicated to cutting up games and turning them into a highlight reel. Yeah, with camera moves and everything. Yeah, could be a thing.
Number 3, eh? Number 3, this also might be cheating again, but sanctioned cheating, all right?
Yeah.
Stonemaier Games.
Boom.
Or Jamie Stegmaier. I hope that's how you pronounce your last name.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Currently sitting at 39,000 subscribers, which is
you're talking about his personal channel.
His personal channel is called Stonemaier Games, but I just clarified it is Jamie Stegmaier.
Yeah.
Not the highest production quality, but I love it because it's an insight into the mind of a prolific board game developer and a creator, and it's just like that's
almost identical to the words I have down, because I have him as an honourable mention, that's almost word for word.
Great minds. What I had. Great minds.
Yeah.
I love his takes on everything. He releases a video every I can't remember if he has an exact schedule, but it's about like 3 videos or more a week kind of thing these days. He really likes to sit down and get amongst, and because he just like does it all in one sitting, I guess it's like pretty low.
He's like this space captain, right, doing the logs.
Yeah. It's like
Star Trek or something.
I don't want to call it low effort because he's obviously thinking about everything, but like it's very like just hit the webcam, record, spew these 10 points that I've thought about perfectly out there, and it's like, wow, that's cool that he thought of that mechanic. Oh yeah, I really like that mechanic from that game. Oh, he used that from that for this. He drops little Easter eggs and hints about his own games and stuff in there, or what's in development, and it's just like cool to be in the mind or on the front lines of a like very successful board game creator on YouTube. That's why.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I have him as an honourable mention. I won't go into him. I might mention him later, but my number 2. Let's just keep charging ahead.
Rolling.
This one's a total crazy pick. I don't know what you're going to think about it, but my number 2 is No Enemies Here. It's a channel by a dude called Dan Pancoldi.
I am unaware of No Enemies Here.
Totally,
this is the first one, the first channel you've brought up that I'm unaware of.
Well, it's kind of it's nuts. He's got huge personality, but basically it's a wargaming channel, and it's an area that I've got a few war games, but I've never played them.
I love me some war games.
And I love the idea of playing some war games, and I'd love to have someone that I can play war games with, but I don't have that person in my life right now. So I get the kind of fix from this dude. He featured on the Dice Tower a few times, and that's sort of where I picked him up. But I just think he's crazy, and I wish there was more of this out here with channels dedicated to like genres or subgenres of board games. And he does war games. He sort of, what he does that other people don't do is he gathers in all the channels that are doing wargaming and sort of gives them a mention or interviews them, goes and interviews the designers. His channel's a total mess. The camera angle is horrendous. He'll have his head at the bottom.
It adds to the charm sometimes.
And it's just, it's pretty boomer. It's almost worse than boomer, but I love it. He's just crazy. He's nuts. I love his energy. He's like, he has a sort of crazy persona that he puts on sometimes, where he pretends to be a son and father talking to each other. He does a sort of split personality thing that is just great, and it's like over the top. Could do it for a producer. It's very fast and loose what he does. He does his own sort of graphics as well, and it's totally old school YouTube. Just grab a bit of that and a bit of this and mix up and see what you get. Just wish there was a bit more of these kind of people out there that I've come across. Good energy. More of this. I don't know who's out there, but
nice.
It's just subgenre or genre board game channels would be a really cool thing to have more of.
Oh well, what does Gandhi say about be the change you want to see in the world?
That's true.
What should we niche down?
Yeah.
Number 2 for me. Look at you, fancy iPad over here. I've got a scribbled notepad. Is a second crossover. Number 2 is shelf side for me.
Side, nice.
I won't ramble on because you've pretty much covered. But yeah, they are like classic YouTubers, and then they're board gamers. It's like they really got that YouTube thing going on. Their thumbnails are awesome. Their production value is awesome. The effort that they put into their editing is insane for the level of like support and views that they get. It's crazy. Get a
headache thinking about it.
They deserve so much more, and they're getting it now. They're blowing up. They currently have like 17,000 subs as of me checking like 3 hours ago.
This data.
And yeah, they're just highly likable, honest characters who will call a spade if it's a great game or a trash game, or it's like, this is probably a great game, but I'm not having fun with it. Kind of thing.
And what's cool about that is that they play these games a lot. So
they put in
a lot of people play it once or twice and they're like, nah, didn't like it, give it a bad review. These guys will like play a lot with their friends,
play for months,
and then come back with like, we tried all these different angles, and yes, it is bad, or yes, this is good.
That's the kind of content I would love to make. We just work too much at the moment. Don't get enough plays in. So I think that's and while they have that like high production value and like all the editing, it still feels like a chill homemade vibe as well.
Yes, and they haven't lost.
Yeah, it's great. It's
maybe they do want to lose it, but they haven't.
I love it. It's perfect.
Oh, they're getting better though. They're definitely the production value is definitely going up and up and up. But yeah, they definitely have
like
that.
Even games I'm completely not interested in that they review or do something on their channel, I'll be entertained sitting through it, and I'll like, it's not a pity view out of me. It's like they did something really cool with this video, even if like I have no desire to play that particular game. And sometimes they show me a game I didn't have any desire in playing, and be like, oh yeah, I could see myself giving that a go. Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, but yeah, that's number 2 for me. And number 2 and number 1 for me are pretty interchangeable. So this is the top of the heap. Don't be Ashton. Don't be sad about that number 2 placement. You're even with 1. So give yourself the gold medal.
They're doing so much good work. Love it. Love what they're doing. Number 1, here we are. I had to go with the big old boys, the good old boys, the Dice Tower. And
the classics.
I'm going to start off with saying this is a horrendously ugly looking channel, but there's a huge but that even though this channel just doesn't have the look that I like, it's just these guys just doing such an amazing job of like cataloging every game out there on video with quality content of any game. So for me, there's no other resource like their channel on the.
There's a reason why they get their celeb invites. There's a reason why they were featured on South Park. Yeah, there's a reason why they've
been doing it for years as well.
They're the most subscribed channel. Yeah, they're like king of the castles.
Yeah, and it's just nuts. I think for me, what hooked me to the channel back in the day was when they had the trio of Sam, Tom, and Z, and little idea that I've been working on, that what makes a channel like these work is creative tension. Like when you have 2 people that kind of don't like the same thing, they have a different point of view, but they're sort of forced every day to work together and sort of come to some reasonable, conclusion about things.
Are you saying we don't fight enough?
No,
in this relationship?
Yeah, there's a thing. Right. Creative
I'll be more
tension.
Aggressive.
Yeah, there's a thing, and I think Sam was the grit in the oyster or whatever that made the pearl, because there was definitely this tension that you could feel when you're watching their top 10s and stuff between the 3 of them, and it was mostly Z versus Sam because they both have such different tastes in board gaming, but they found a respect for each other, even though they had different points of view. And so I would just love top tens because you could just see the personality behind behind the whole thing.
I have to say, I'm not a top 10 like watcher. Like that kind of content is not like the thing that I will voluntarily watch a lot. But I have, out of top 10 videos, I have watched the most out of the Dice Tower.
Yeah.
And it's good to have differing opinions. It's always nice to have some classic reactions to like, what the hell is that on your list. And they've got like the most top 10s ever, like top 10 of this genre, top 10 of this genre, top 10 of this year, top 10 of this month.
Yeah. And they've got a whole bunch of crew that add value. Recently Chris Yee did a analysis of all the top 100s that they've done this year and years past, and cross-referenced them with People's Choice, and it was just like mind-blowingly fascinating data, if that's a sentence. And then Roy tries to make the channel look good, but he's fighting an uphill battle, I think. Just the framing, the lighting. They got a new studio, looks great, but boy oh boy. And they brought in Mike DeLisio, I believe his name is, he's not really a replacement for Sam, but sort of fits into that hole that Sam left. But yeah, Sam was really good value, and he is missed, in my opinion. But yeah, it's kind of a sad note to end on. But yeah, what a channel. Sorry about all the negative comments, but yeah, amazing job, amazing channel.
Here's my top pick. Let me roast them for 3 minutes.
Sorry, but I have to.
This was supposed to be a wholesome episode, David.
I try.
It's a roast of love, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the characters. I find my tastes align with Tom the most, which is not surprising because he's kind of like Tom Vassell and the people sort of cross over quite a bit. They do like community causes or whatnot, and it's always the people in Tom Vassell generally that line up, as far as I know. Great stuff. Never stop. I'd love for them to get like a professional producer or something, or cinematographer in there or something, just to give them a helping hand. Yeah.
Wow, sad to their already professional producer, mate.
Yeah.
And going from a number one of a whole big team effort to a solo creator, my number one is Lord of the Board.
Boom.
Also a Sam, and he's currently sitting at 14.7k subscribers. That needs to be 100,000 as soon as possible, please. Production value is insane. The music, the backing tracks, the camera angles, the little 2D animations he does on everything. Chef's kiss. It's like when I first got into board gaming and saw like, hey, there's no real like there's a small board game channel community, but no one's doing it like how I kind of imagined like a YouTuber would do it. And then I started coming across Sam's strategy guides, specifically his ones for Disney's Villainous and Root. And just the effort that was put into those strategy guides, the little animations, the cutscenes, and all that B-roll was just like, so good.
You described what you would want from a channel.
Yeah.
And then I was like, by the way, have you heard of this guy?
Yeah, no,
yeah. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Lord of the Board?
Yeah.
He does exactly everything that you just described.
And that name too, like, best name ever. Aside from production value and like the beautiful things, Sam plays like, or at least on his channel features like asymmetric combat games. That is something that I personally like a lot, so that entices me towards his content more. He like goes like full on goblin mode into his like strategies and like deep dives into them, and as someone who like I in game, go freaking full on like full goblin mode into like alpha gaming this strategy, I can relate to wanting to know, like, hey, what's the most optimal thing I can do with this faction or this faction? Or, oh, yes, I've played them like that. Or, oh, no, I hadn't thought about that card combo. Yeah, great content, good ideas, solid strategy, guys.
He's gone
similar taste in games.
Strength to strength, too. Like, he was high quality, and I've watched a few of his videos recently, and I'm like, well, it's got even better. Is that
him
possible?
And Tim, right. Like I think they have a shared Discord community.
Yeah, okay.
And they're working on something together. I'm blanking on it off the top of my mind, but they just made a video on it like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because his production quality's increased.
And I think he's doing he does promotional, he gets paid to do promotional photos for new Kickstarters and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I think I've seen
that in this latest video actually that I watched.
Yeah, which is cool. We need board game creators to get that bag since our views are pretty pathetic. Not enough to live off that AdSense. Eh? Our 20 view AdSense. Come on, guys, we got to pump those numbers. So that's me. Yeah, I think I went a lot more indie.
Yeah,
and to me that's my personal choice. Yes, I don't want to say I grew up on the big boys, but they were my introduction into the space. I just don't really watch them too much anymore. And maybe I'll go back. Maybe you'll send me a video or two to be like, hey, watch this or watch that, and I'll give it a go. But again, they're just not on my top 10. Honourable mentions for sure, all of them. Everyone you've mentioned except for, was it No Enemies?
No Enemies Here.
No Enemies Here, yeah. I'm aware of all of them, and they'd be in my honourable mentions.
Yeah. Yeah, I realised that when I was looking at my list, I realised I should have realised, but I have a taste, I have a reason why I go to board game channels, and is get more information about as much board games as possible, like the latest board games, and get the goods rather than you're looking for more of a niche sort of crowd.
I'm looking to be entertained or have my biases confirmed by someone else.
I love it.
I'm looking for pretty and entertaining content that can also be informational as well. I at this stage in my life, my brain has been rotted by modern society, and I just can't sit down to it for a 3-hour video. I can, it's bad. I'm not proud of it. Yeah. I'm not proud of it. I just have a few more honourable mentions that I don't think were covered.
Sure.
Watch It Played.
That's in my honourable mentions as well.
Yeah. Where would we be without Watch It Played, you know? How many times you set up a board game, got halfway through the rules and be like, everyone's falling asleep, let's just watch It Played. Take us through. Dice Breaker, Dice Tower, Shut Up and Sit Down, Good Time Society. Again, I no longer watch their content, but you can't really talk about board game content without mentioning them. Critical Role, even though they're not really board games, they're
pretty big.
The biggest, most mainstream tabletop related thing out there, and they are bringing more eyeballs to this space, even if it is, it's that Dungeons and Dragons gateway to the board game.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide between board game hell. Yeah. Let's go with board game hell. Board game.
That's a trap, boys.
The board game padded room.
Yeah. Anything else? Those
are my
honourable mentions. Heavy cardboard. There's some games that just freak people out, because how can you review or teach games that are so complex?
There's some YouTube channels that freak me out with 2-hour-long breakdowns of games.
Yeah.
Well, Heavy cardboard.
Yeah, these guys do. These guys are a go-to, because I quite like these crunchy, weighty games, and these guys are not afraid.
I love playing them.
And they'll just do an hour or two teaching the game, and then they'll do another hour of playing the game, and you can sort of skip your way through it at double speed and sort of learn the game and get comfortable with it, so you're not put off from pulling it off the shelf and giving it a go. There's a few channels out there that look at the big games. No pun included, also does something similar to Heavy Cardboard, but I feel like Heavy Cardboard has a bigger track record and a wider library of games that they've done this for. There's a personality called Raldo.
Raldo runs.
He's a very quirky dude. He's passionate. He's a mile a minute. If you're down for that, you're down for that. He has a sort of friendly rivalry going with the big old club of board games like Tom Vassell and others. He's one of those personalities. He's been around forever.
Yeah, he is.
Lord of the Board, I had to mention that. That's your number one. So shiny and fairly in-depth look at strategies, I thought. I've seen other channels that go deeper than him. That's why I can't say he gives a super deep dive, but but
there's a difference between
commercial and appealing.
Yeah. There's people that give a 5-minute strategy guide, and it's what do we get in 5 minutes? Then Lord of the Board's 10 to 20 minutes of high quality strategy. And then for me personally, just if you're going to talk about one particular strategy of one faction in a game for an hour, it's ain't nobody got time for that, man.
Except me.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what my list is based on. Who gives me the most detail in your content, rather than who does it best, envisually and entertainment, and you're not embarrassed to show your friends.
I'm aware of my flaws.
Yeah, well, likewise. Jamie Stegmaier. As you said, a nice look inside a designer's headspace, and his mechanism shorts are such a clever little idea.
We need to steal that.
There's a few people that do that, but he does it so succinctly. Really good job there. Watch It Played, of course, you mentioned that as well. The Watch It Played has actually moved into more of a philosophical space as well, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. I feel like he's tailored off that a bit, and he's expanded his he's hired people and stuff. His channel's actually grown. He's got a few personalities on there now.
Yeah.
But before he went through that, he went through this philosophical phase where he's starting to question things in board games and stuff. It was quite interesting because he's such a solid
Rodney, right?
Yeah. It's really because he was such a solid sort of straight dictionary kind of person, and then he started getting philosophical. So he had the weight of doing everything perfect to then talking about ideas and stuff. Was quite an interesting shift, but I think he's moved more back to producing how to plays recently. And then there's the old Ma and Pa sort of duo couple just being we love board games, let's make a channel, why not? Everyone's doing podcasts, let's do a podcast on board gaming. I'd mentioned Board Game Ramblings. I believe they're German, but that's an English language channel, I think. And then Before You Play is another one that's nice. I think they're very cool, and it's just another sort of Ma and Pa. We get a game, review the ones we like, and do top 10s and stuff. Yeah, there's quite a few out there.
Cute.
And overall, there's just this. With all these channels, there's this love for board games. That's very sort of grassroots indie vibe. That's what drives and makes this thing a movement, really. It's a very creative space, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, overall, board game content on YouTube, I also feel and this is probably inflating my own ego too much here, but I feel like my sub and my matters a lot, because everything's so tiny, and how I'm talking about 5,000 is a medium to high size channel, and that is in the overall scheme of YouTube tiny. But for board games, it's it's getting up there. But then we do have our heavy hitters, Dice Tower and Shut Up, Sit Down, Critical Role, Good Time Society. They've got multiple hundreds of thousands of subs, but I can see the exponential curve. We're on the up and up. Not us, but board games as a whole.
Yeah, it's still got room to grow, and there's lots of unexplored areas, and so that's why I'm encouraged by seeing people doing stuff that's just not another iteration of the same thing. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's given me ideas at least.
Matt's got big ideas.
Yeah, I just need to stop working 12 to 15 hour days. Get some of these ideas out here.
Cool. So yeah, that wraps up our top 10. Hope you liked. We've got
cameras up here, man.
Cameras up there. Yeah. Hey fam. Yeah. Next episode we're going to be looking at Scythe, Jamie Stegmaier's big ass game. Matt's going to reveal
his breakout game, I'd say, right?
Yeah, and what a phenomenal. It's still such a perfect confluence of ideas.
I mean, not to spoil anything, but it's definitely in my top 10 games.
Yeah. And yeah, Matt's going to take us through his sequencing secrets, because he's a bit of a savant when it comes to this game.
I don't know about that. I try hard, that's for sure.
He's ahead of the curve on this game. He's very good, but he sometimes doesn't know when to put the knife in.
No. Yeah.
This game gives a lot of room for personalities.
Spoilers,
but yeah,
spoilers.
next week. I mean, not next week. Next episode. Yikes.
Next year, guys. Next year. All right. See ya.
Ciao.